They said the battlefield had a sound of its own. Engines roared, artillery thundered, rifles cracked. But every tank crewman knew there was one sound they feared above all others. It wasn't the scream of incoming shells or the whistling dive of a Stuka. It was something softer, almost delicate, a hiss more than a roar, a sound that came too late to react to. The sound of a bazooka rocket slicing through the air, hunting steel like a predator hunts flesh. Tank crews spoke of it quietly, as if naming it too loudly might summon it. The rocket didn't just attack machines, it attacked the men inside them. Inside a tank, you could feel the air shift a split second before it struck. A subtle pressure change, a whisper of death brushing past your ears. Many crews insisted they could sense it even through inches of armor. By the summer of 1944, that fear had a name whispered across German armored units: Rohrrakete, the tube rocket. But to the men who faced it, it was something simpler and far more terrifying: the tank killer. The bazooka had been designed by American engineers for speed, portability, and simplicity. A straight metal tube, a rocket, a trigger. It looked almost childish, like a toy pulled from a comic book. But there was nothing childish about its effect. Tanks, long believed to be invulnerable fortresses, could now be brought to their knees by a single infantryman hiding behind a wall or crouching in a hedge. For the first time, German panzers felt hunted. The story didn't begin in Normandy or the Ardennes. It began in North Africa under a scorching desert sun. The first encounter left the Germans puzzled. A half-melted launch tube, a spent rocket casing, a Panzer III smoldering quietly just a few feet away. They assumed artillery, but the angle was wrong. The penetration was too precise. Someone had killed that tank at close range. Reports trickled upward through German ranks. A small American weapon capable of penetrating frontal armor. A shoulder-fired rocket. A tube that launches explosive warheads. The descriptions varied, but the effect was consistent. Tanks destroyed by something unseen, fired by men who vanished before the Germans even knew they were under attack. In Tunisia, crews first felt the paranoia. Every ridge, every bush, every pile of rocks could conceal a bazooka team ready to strike. Some commanders fired machine guns blindly, attempting to flush out invisible enemies. They didn't know what it looked like, but they knew what it felt like. A threat that ignored distance, ignored armor, ignored the confidence that tanks had once given their crews. When the weapon reached Europe after D-Day, its reputation exploded. Rumors spread. A tube weapon that could punch through Panther side armor. A rocket that left a glowing trail like a comet, marking the death of its target. Some believed it melted steel like butter. Tales seemed exaggerated until the hedgerow fighting began. Normandy's hedgerows were the perfect hunting ground, tight, claustrophobic, and shadowed. Tanks could no longer rely on open fields. A bazooka only needed one moment of surprise, one vulnerable flank. Tanks advancing through these lanes became coffins waiting to be sealed. Panzer Commander Dietrich Müller recalled his first encounter. His Panther moved cautiously through a thick lane of earth and tangled branches. Infantry behind seemed confident. Morning attacks had been successful, yet Müller sensed something wrong. Silence, unnatural and foreboding, then it struck. A flash. A streak, a hollow thump, subtle but heavy, like a hammer striking deep within the steel. Smoke curled from the radio seam. The loader screamed, molten fragments searing his flesh. Müller smelled burning insulation and something else. Fear. He ordered the driver to reverse, but the tank lurched violently. The rocket had pierced the side armor, igniting fuel lines. The crew scrambled out before the tank erupted. Müller glimpsed a figure darting behind a shrub, tube on shoulder, and vanish. He whispered to himself, "This weapon doesn't fight the tank, it fights the men inside." Across the front, similar stories multiplied. Tanks destroyed from angles thought safe. Entire columns halted. German commanders realized they had underestimated a weapon that redefined armored warfare. Infantry were the hunters, tanks the prey. Tank crews developed rituals. Tapping the armor for reassurance. Chalk crosses on interior walls. Sandbags along the sides. But nothing stopped the bazooka. Its shaped charge pierced nearly anything, melting steel and fearlessly ignoring any defenses. By late Normandy, German headquarters issued new protocols. Avoid narrow lanes, keep tanks away from isolated buildings, never advance without infantry support. But the battlefield rarely allowed perfect execution. Many tanks still advanced alone, and that was when the bazooka claimed its deadliest victims. Some commanders dreaded receiving orders to push into American-held villages. They knew the enemy waited in shadows, rubble, and windows. Tanks creeping through silent streets, hatches sealed, aware that behind any corner a bazooka could strike. The weapon had changed armored warfare forever. Tanks no longer ruled the battlefield. A single infantryman with a tube on his shoulder could destroy a 40-ton machine. And as the Allies pushed deeper into Europe, the bazooka's legend only grew. German soldiers didn't just fear the weapon, they feared the courage of those wielding it. Men crawling through mud, sprinting across open ground,